In the Joseon era, an ancient legend claimed that destiny was inescapable. Lovers are bound by an invisible red thread. Break it, separate them, it makes no difference. Because upon reunion, they are inseparable. But enough of the fairy tales. The reality is simpler. The crown prince has woken up choosing absolute violence. He flips the palace upside down in a blind rage, storming into the wardrobe to terrorize his officials. All because the color wasn't right. The officials said he served kings and none of them cared about details. The prince replied that was no excuse to make the lining light red when he wanted it dark red. He mocked the color choice. Anyway, there was a meeting with the crown prince, advisors, and palace officials. The prince had to find a beautiful bride to produce heirs and ensure the throne did not go to a stranger. They suggested the counselor's daughter, and then everyone gave their opinion. A fight broke out between them, but the chill prince took out his popcorn to watch, telling them to continue and ignore him. The popcorn was great. Later, from the counselor's talk with the king, we learned he was corrupt. He was clearly shady. Later, the crown prince went to the port and saw live fish in the sea. He got angry at the servants because he ordered them to kill all living creatures in the water. Why? Because his mother died, and they accused his wife of killing her. His wife drowned herself out of guilt and false accusations, and he saw her body. He had trauma from water ever since. We saw the day of the incident as the king tried and had to convince him she committed suicide. He insisted she would never do that. The king admitted he told her to do it. He told him his mother and wife both died because of him. The poor prince went to kill himself to follow his wife and drink poison. The counselor shot the bottle and told him to wait. He asked where he was going, as they still needed him. The prince realized he wanted him to marry his daughter to steal the throne. The counselor applauded his sharp wit. He admitted he killed the mother and framed the wife, knowing the prince was powerless. We returned to a present more bitter than the past. We met Dal, a merchant so skilled she could sell the clothes off your back. Her persuasion was incredible. While walking home, some kids annoyed her. She could not react because they were from a noble family. She went to her parents, angry about her poverty. She told them she felt this was not her place. She almost drowned years ago, woke up poor, and they claimed to be her parents. The amnesia trouble was too much. Her mother told her to scam him and bring money, or she would be in trouble. Her father told her to go to the neighboring village to see the minister. The minister showed her a letter from his young daughter, married to the prince of the capital. She wanted to die following her husband. Dal said she could not travel to the capital. When he took out silver and money, she changed her mind immediately. Inspecting the jewelry, she found a hidden message implying someone was forcing her to commit suicide. She traveled to save her, went to the house, and met the mother-in-law. She refused her entry, but Dal dropped her bag, spilling the letter and tools. The mother-in-law invited her in. It was a smart trick by Dal. She entered and asked if she wanted to die now. The young woman said yes, all for the title of the virtuous woman, given to any widow who killed herself after her husband died. Dal spoke loudly, telling her to choose how she wanted to kill herself. The mother-in-law's assistant listened outside, trusting Dal, who was actually her escape. She finished and left. Meanwhile, the crown prince walked aimlessly in the market with nothing to do and spotted Dal. He stared blankly, mistaking her for his late wife due to the resemblance. His bodyguard came and asked what was wrong and why he looked pale. He replied he saw his wife just now. She actually noticed he was focused on her, so she ran away quickly because she thought he was a slave hunter. He chased but missed her, saying he imagined it. During the escape mission of Dal, she found herself in a flower sanctuary. She entered and muttered that she should not have come to the capital. She was a servant in a royal house and ran away. If they caught her, it would be trouble. Even her parents, who thought she did not know they were adoptive. As she spoke while changing clothes, a man was in the tree whom she did not see. He was up the tree holding a watch that made a noise. When they noticed each other, they screamed until the watch fell on Dal's head. She fainted and it broke in two. When she woke up, she was in the palace with the man beside her. She gathered her things to leave. He asked if entering the palace was free. He demanded payment for the broken watch. She told him frankly she had no money. She told him to skin her if he wanted. He called her a skinned woman and told her to stay. He went to meet the crown prince. The man turned out to be the prince. They pretended to fight because they knew they were watched. It was a cover so no one heard them. Indeed, the counselor sent a spy to learn the reason for their meeting. Meanwhile, Dal managed to escape and wear the clothes of a court lady. She acted like a hero, jumping over roofs. The guard, chasing her, asked if she knew she ran from the prince, son of the late king. She wanted to say she never heard of him. However, she fell right into the arms of the crown prince. The world arranged coincidences. We learned she was his wife whom he had been chasing, but she had amnesia and he buried her himself. It would be hard to convince him. We saw 5 years ago when a letter came to Dal from the king asking her to kill herself to save her husband if she loved him. She jumped into the water. This was how women were when they loved. We saw her assistant followed her and searched until she found herself before the shaman who created the legend. He told her the thread of fate was cut from her hand, so she was suffering amnesia. To protect her, she must never remind her of the past or let her meet her husband. If that happened, they would never part again. The first thing the assistant did was take the wedding ring and hide it. When Dal woke up, she told her she was a servant who served in a royal house and tried to escape, so they killed her family. That was why she could not go to the capital, as slave hunters would not spare her. She claimed to be her aunt. Meanwhile, the counselor and assistants brought a decomposed body, claiming it was his wife. He identified her by the ring that was on her hand. Since then, he targeted the counselor, certain he was behind the death of the late king, who was the prince's father. Because he killed them using a traceless poison, he began searching for the substance and learned it came from a Chinese bird. He wanted to use it to kill the counselor. He asked the prince to help investigate since their revenge goal was the same. The prince investigated and found an old man who sold this bird to the counselor. Back in the present, the crown prince was still staring and convinced she was his wife. The dramatic moment was interrupted by the court lady, who demanded her clothes back. They all sat down, and Dal explained she was from a distant village living with her parents. He was surprised she also had parents. She told him he looked foolish, and she had to leave for a deal that would make her rich. She left her things to ensure she would not run. When they searched her items, they realized what she was going to do and sensed danger. The prince said he had to help her. The crown prince feared she turned out to be his wife, actually. His guard told him that even if she was his wife, she fled a royal order of execution, which was treason, so she had to die regardless. The prince replied that if she turned out to be his wife, he would take her and flee. But if she was just a merchant as she claimed, he would kill her. No one asked her to look exactly like his wife. We went to Dal, who managed to hide the young woman in a box of goods on her back and misled the house guards. When they realized they were tricked, they returned to her and demanded to search the box. They opened it and found the young woman. At that moment, the prince arrived and told them to run while he finished the matter. Here, with his little toe, they ran. Just as he was rolling up his sleeves to start, Kim's guard arrived and told him he must withdraw from this mess because he was interfering in another family's affairs, which was against the law. Meanwhile, Kim stopped Dal and the young woman. The house guards arrived, and Kim asked them to take her back to the house. He pushed Dal away and told her that if she was doing this for money, he would pay her, but she must leave everyone alone in their own homes. She gave him a harsh lecture, saying instead of helping women use weapons to protect themselves, he encouraged the law of the virtuous woman and that empty nonsense. He noticed she said exactly the same words as his wife and in the same manner. He was amazed and asked her what happened if a flower petal fell into someone's hand. The answer would determine if she was his wife or not. Dal replied she would not talk to a human like him. She told him to see where he was going. He replied that if he saved the girl and finished the matter for her, she would answer his question. He ordered someone to treat her leg, took his men, and they raided the house where the girl was. Dal, after treating her leg, used her wits. She gathered the townspeople and told them about the girl's tragedy and what would happen to her. She found no reaction, so she told them they did not understand how this affected the common people. She warned that they would impose taxes on them. Hearing about taxes, they decided to help immediately. They all gathered and went to the house. At that time, Kim had caught the girl's father-in-law and saw he prepared everything for her suicide. He threatened that if the girl was harmed in any way, he and his whole family would be punished and follow her. At that moment, Dal entered with the townspeople. She was surprised by Kim's noble actions. They all clapped for him and cheered. The police arrived and were told what happened. When the officer asked who he was, he said he was just an inspector to resolve things, because he did not want anyone, especially Dal, to know he was the crown prince. As soon as the officer saw the crown prince's bodyguard, he realized immediately this was indeed the crown prince in disguise. When the whole night ended, Kim told Dal to answer his question now. We saw that his wife always told him that if a flower petal fell into his hand, he would meet his first love. Dal told him if a flower fell, he would just hold it normally. He told her to get out of his sight and return to her village. She stopped and thanked him for helping the girl, proving to her he was a noble man, not greedy as she thought. He got lost in her eyes, remembering his wife, and teared up. She came close and wiped his tears. He told her she was the reason for his state. He had lived hoping his wife returned, but she proved to him she was not her and woke him from his dreams. She told him to cheer up and suggested they go eat. She said whenever he felt down, he should eat, and the world would smile at him. He agreed casually. Meanwhile, the counselor sent an order to his daughter to return because it was time for her marriage to the crown prince. She refused because of her love story. With whom? With the prince. Focus with me, everyone. On the other side, Dal's parents arrived in the city, intending to punish her for coming here, behind their backs, as she was banned from entering the capital. She hid from them and asked Kim to make dinner breakfast and postpone their date to tomorrow noon for sun and vitamin D. She went to take her parents and leave. She agreed with them to return to the village in the morning. At night, she escaped to check on the young woman and say goodbye before leaving. On her way back, she met the prince, who told her since she was a merchant with connections, he wanted her to find him a translator. She said okay, but she had a date now with the inspector, meaning Kim. He told her to finish and come to his house, as their deal was not over yet. The inspector would show her the address. On her way way to Kim, she bumped into one of the house guards. He put something in her bag while the prince watched. The young woman's mother-in-law ordered this because she wanted revenge for the mess she made in her house and to accuse her of theft. When the police searched her bag, they found the stolen pendant. They took her to the court office. The punishment for theft was 30 lashes, and that they also cut off her legs. Just as they were about to execute the sentence, Kim entered. The judge told him no matter who he was in the country, he could not interfere in court affairs. He told him he would show him he could change this country. He ordered the guards to untie Dal. He extended his hand to her and asked if they should go or they would not catch the vitamin D from the start. We saw that while the police arrested Dal, her family saw her. They said since they were nobodies, no one would listen to them. Only the crown prince himself could help their daughter. They went to Kim and begged him to help their daughter. He was about to dismiss them, but they told him that Dal was their daughter. He worried for her as they told him what happened. He went to her immediately. At the judge, he wanted to judge Kim, but the prince arrived and brought proof of Dal's innocence. He had with him the young woman's mother-in-law herself, admitting she framed her for theft. The session adjourned. Dal told Kim she must return to her village because she would involve him in problems. He told her not to. Think he did this for her. It was only because she looked like his wife, and he could not see his wife disfigured. A second time, Dal felt annoyed and said that was fine. She said she was not a teenager and did not want to see or talk to him again. She told him to stay out of her way. They fought and he left. The prince found her and she told him her sorrows. She thought he helped her for herself, and finally someone looked at her despite her poverty. But it turned out he did it all because she looked like his wife. He asked if she was done, then told her to sign a contract. It stated she owed him the value of the watch. Until the debt was paid, she could not make a single move without his permission and had to do whatever he said. He threatened her with her ID, so she had to agree. When she returned to her family, they were angry at her. She asked if they knew what she went through and why they did not come to help. Her father almost slipped and said they spoke with the crown prince, but we saw Kim ask them not to tell her he was the crown prince. Her mother winked at him and said they asked that nobleman to help her, and he agreed. He provided a place for them to stay until they returned. The next day, the prince went to propose to his lover, the counselor's daughter. He did not know she was his daughter and was surprised. He asked if she knew from the beginning that he wanted revenge on him and continued her lie. She asked if he would give up on her that easily. He suggested they run away together. She said her father would not leave them alone, and she had to marry the crown prince to get him off her back. She said the solution was for him to protest his exile and return to the throne, again, become the crown prince and marry her. He told her he never thought about ruling, left her, and walked away. She decided to take a step. She went to her father and told him if he wanted her to marry the crown prince, let him come take her himself. The counselor was informed of her request. The prince was writing a letter to the counselor's daughter, saying goodbye. He told her he agreed to the royal marriage. He wrote the letter in tears. He told Dal he did not need her anymore and would let her return to her village, but only after she did him a favor. Meanwhile, Kim was with his guards, going to get the counselor's daughter as requested. They rested a bit. There, he met Dal. When he knew she was going to the same place, he asked what she would do there. But she remembered the prince's words when he gave her the letter to deliver to the counselor's daughter. He told her it was a mission, secret, and no one should know. She told Kim she would not tell him because it was a secret. Then, his guard asked if she was going to the same place and invited her along. He said they were getting Kim's fiancé. She looked at him and said he also had a fiancé with a look of disgust. He looked at the guard and asked if he was happy now. After they arrived at the counselor's daughter's place, she acted arrogant and did not move. Dal said to Kim that beauty had the right to be spoiled and he should go to her. He asked her where the beauty was, as he did not see it, and that her fingernail was worth more than her. Dal and everyone were surprised by what he said. At the end of the day, Dal delivered the letter to the counselor's daughter. Later, Kim went to speak with her, but she told him he must stop this marriage because she did not love him. He asked if she thought he was madly in love with her. He added that she should be afraid if he loved her anyway, because everyone he loved became past tense. She got close to him and asked who exactly killed them. He was shocked. As for Dal, she thought they were flirting and walked away, muttering, asking why, if he was engaged, he treated her nicely and flirted with her. Then the counselor's daughter told him she knew he wanted revenge on her father, but she was out of their conflicts. She wanted to marry the prince. Suddenly, a gang attacked them. Kim took the counselor's daughter and hid her in a room while his guards stood to fight them. When he returned to help him, they found that running was half of bravery in this situation, so they managed to escape. However, one man came after them and was about to kill Kim, but the guard sacrificed himself, taking the stab. Kim collapsed over his guard and lifelong friend. As he took him to save him, they saw the counselor's daughter shooting at Kim, but again, the guard pushed Kim away and took the hit. She shot another bullet at Kim, hitting him in the embrace, and he fell into the water. The next day, Kim's men arrived, found the guard, revived him, and he got up normally. They began searching for Kim. When the news reached, they said Kim had passed away. They had to make the prince the crown prince. As for the king, he was devastated over his son. sun. Dal was walking by pure coincidence on the waterform below and found a body. When she finished and approached him, she found it was Kim. She ran to gather herbs to treat him. However, the police came and asked about him. She played smart and told them no one passed by. She returned to treat him again. To stop the bleeding, she brought a spoon, heated it, put it on the wound, and pressed it with her hand. What loyalty! In the palace, the counselor was sitting with his followers plotting something bad against the prince. They wanted to kill him so he would not be the crown prince. His daughter heard him and entered, telling him she was the one who killed Kim so the prince could become crown prince and she could marry him. She warned him she would use him for her interest, not the other way around. Most important is respecting parents, of course. Finally, Kim woke up. The first thing he said was whether this was a dream or reality didn't matter. What mattered was she was in front of him. She understood he saw her as his wife and asked if this was her reward after staying by his side for 15 days, caring for him. He heard the duration and told her to get him a horse immediately as he must return. She brought the horse and they left together. But halfway, he got tired and refused to stop to rest. When she got upset with him, he continued his way normally, but he looked like a wet chick because of his wounds. Our girl was a softie, so she could not leave him and ran after him. When he fell, she went down and yelled at him. She told him to give it a rest, asking if he could even stand. She added he saved her several times, so this was a duty, he told her. No, she saved him. From now on, he wanted her to stay by his side to protect him. He didn't finish the sentence, poor guy, before fainting. Afterwards, she kept dragging him until they reached a place to sleep, until morning. While sleeping at night, every time she slept on his wounded shoulder, he moved her. She returned, and he moved her again, but she calmed down in the end and slept. Then he saw the wound on her hand and remembered it was from when she was treating him. When morning came, they went to a doctor for rehabilitation together. In the palace, Kim's personal guard was very sick, and the prince was sitting nursing him. The merchant follower of Dal told him the crown prince sent a letter, and they knew from it he was still alive, but was prevented from entering the palace, him and anyone with him. The prince said he would go get him himself. When he went out, the counselor arrested him and told him they found a letter from the crown prince in his house. He asked why he hid it, accusing him of greed for the throne and not wanting them to find the crown prince. He sentenced the guard to death as well because he failed to protect Kim. Meanwhile, as Kim and Dal were returning, bandits appeared, and Kim told her to get off the horse. He began to step back 2 steps. She asked him what was with this bad handover, wishing he had told her at least. But he suddenly grabbed her onto the horse again, and they galloped away. But they kept chasing them and shot an arrow, causing them to fall to the ground. They both helped each other and finished them off. The gang leader came to approach them, but the one who saved him was his guard. He was happy he was alive, but lost his joy. Immediately when he told him the prince was in danger because he was accused of trying to kill him, he said he must return to him, but their path would take 2 days. However, the philosopher Dal said she was a big merchant with many connections and would contact someone to send a boat to return by sea. When the guard asked Kim why she was returning with them, saying it was enough for her and she must return to her village, asking if she was getting too comfortable, Kim told him he wanted to reward her for her help. They boarded the boat, him and Dal. She changed his wound dressing, and he asked her to wait for him until he saved the prince and returned to her. They spent the whole night together. The next day, the boat reached the port, and Kim heard from merchants that the prince was exiled to a remote island. He knew they would kill him before he arrived at all. In the palace, we saw the Queen Dowager plan to kill the king with poison. The counselor planned to kill the prince before he boarded the ship to the island. With the Queen Dowager's knowledge too, by the way, Kim sent his guard to save the king at the last moment. He went to save the prince, returned to the palace, and asked him to fetch Dal and keep her with him until he finished his business. He went to get her. On the way, she did not stop asking questions about Kim's situation. He told her they seemed to be getting along very well. She denied it, saying he just said he would reward her and was a greedy person. He opened the door for her, and she found many gifts. She returned them all and took only the money to return to her village. When Kim learned this, he sent her clothes for travel. She was happy with them, as they were silk. The prince told her to put on her clothes, silly, and he would wait outside. Outside, the counselor's daughter was there. She told him she did all this for him, and he rejected her like that. Here, Dal came out enthusiastically, showing him how beautiful the clothes were. He went, stood next to her, and told the counselor's daughter, "Meet my beloved." He extended his hand for Dal to hold, but when she hesitated, he reminded her of the contract. She held his hand immediately, and they left her and walked away. In the palace, Kim was getting ready, eager to go meet Dal. The guard told him he was about to get married, so he would bring trouble to himself and her. He told him this was the last time promised. He went to see her and found her looking cute. He took her and they ate together the food she enjoyed. Every time she messed up, he told her there were fireworks today and asked if she wanted to see them together before she left. Just anything to stay. On their way, Kim left her saying he would get something and return immediately. At that time, the young woman's father-in-law, who incited her suicide, saw her. He went to her with his assistant and asked how a lowlife like her dared to wear noble silk clothes. The minister seemed to have a wandering eye and was shady. She raised her voice and told him to take the clothes he was making a fuss about. She asked who appointed him minister to abuse power for his mood. He was about to get angry at her, but Kim's sword silenced him forever. He mentioned in front of Dal that he was the crown prince. Here, poor Dal was shocked. Kim got angry at her for exposing herself to danger with her sass and sharp tongue, but she thought every time he helped her, it was because she looked like his wife. She told him he even brought these clothes to make her look exactly like her. They argued, and he told her to return to her village, and he did not want to see her again. She took off everything he gifted her and threw it. Watching was the counselor's daughter, who raised her sword to Dal's neck, saying she insulted the crown prince and must die. The prince arrived, grabbing the sword with his hand, moving it away from her neck as she was wounded. The counselor's daughter was dying of rage, and so was Kim. When he saw the prince brought shoes for Dal and put them on her himself, he was very annoyed. He went to her, gave her the clothes she took off, and told her to wear them, adding that, by the way, his were nicer on her. He told her not to be this stubborn and judge people unfairly, because he did not bring these clothes to make her look like his wife or anything. She told him the one who makes a mistake should apologize. Being the crown prince and her a poor merchant did not mean he should be arrogant to his people. While she was talking, he saw only his wife in front of him, having the same words and style. When she turned to leave, he grabbed her hand and told her no, she must tell him now who exactly she was. He came to see her intending it to be the last time, so why did she insist on giving him butterflies? While holding her hand, they both felt pain near the mark on their hands, which was supposed to be the thread of fate. From the shock, Dal fell into the water. Don't ask me how. And when Kim came to save her, he fell with her. Then we saw both of them lose consciousness. Amazing. Their thread of fate reconnected again. The next day, when they woke up, they found themselves in their homes, but not in their own bodies, meaning their souls swapped. Kim became Dal inside, and Dal became Kim inside. Let's bear with each other until this mess passes and everyone gets their things back. Here, Dal woke up with the prince beside her. Dal told the prince she had to return to the palace. The prince asked why she would return to the palace and why she spoke like that, asking where the formality was. He asked what formality, telling Dal to wake up. She said Dal? When she looked in the mirror, she was shocked, or he was shocked, whatever. He asked himself what her face was doing here, and if he needed this. As for the one with Dal's flavor, he found himself in the palace and ran like a crazy person, embarrassed. When she went outside, she looked at the water, saw the face reflection, and screamed until the guard came and carried him inside. No one understood anything. We returned back to Dal, who had Kim inside her. The prince told her he must return to the palace now. The prince suspected her fever, thinking she was crazy. He pushed her hand away, saying he would go on his own. They treated him with acupuncture, hoping he would calm down. We saw Kim, in Dal's body, sneak to the queen dowager. She was surprised by the resemblance to the crown prince's wife. He spoke boldly, saying he knew. She did not want the crown prince to marry the counselor's daughter so the throne would not be lost. She remarked he was sharp. Dal told her she would let her use her and would bring the child she wanted from the crown prince. In the palace, the counselor entered on Kim, who had Dal's soul inside, lamenting her muscular state. As soon as the counselor stood before her, she bowed in salute. Everyone was shocked. Suddenly she realized what she did. She covered it up, saying just 10 push-ups for heartburn, begging his pardon. The counselor told him the girl he was looking for was the same poor merchant named Dal. He replied, "What Dal? I will marry your daughter. There is no one like your daughter, a girl of noble origin." Later, they brought Dal to Kim, saying they appointed a new personal assistant. We saw Dal agreed with the queen dowager to enter the palace as a personal assistant. The queen warned her if she was caught as a girl, she was doomed. Dal said it was the only way to get close to the crown prince. When Dal and Kim were alone, they tried to understand what happened to them and how to return. They were in the bath and said that day they fell into the water. They tried to replicate it, but nothing happened. They decided they must do it at the exact same place where it happened. Kim said the guards would stop them. They made a cheap plan and went to a merchant friend. They dressed him as the crown prince. Dal shouted to the guards that the crown prince escaped. They chased him like fools. They went to the same place, but realized if they jumped and lost consciousness, no one would save them. They had to wait for guards. At that time, Kim apologized for that day. He told her most of the time he was happy with her. It wasn't because she looked like his wife. The guards interrupted this candid moment. Just as they were about to jump, Kim was scared to jump because he had trauma from water. Dal reassured him she could swim and would save him. They jumped together, but nothing happened. Kim told her earthly solutions were over. From today, she must handle acting as the crown prince and pretend to be an idiot who understood nothing with everyone. Indeed, the next day she went to greet the king. She played backgammon with him. The king did not understand when his son became so compliant. We saw the counselor's daughter entered the palace. They began preparing her to be the crown prince's wife. In the palace, she saw Dal and recognized her. She told her not to worry. She would not tell anyone. Her father controlled the king to control the crown prince. She said she would use her to control the crown prince. Thus, they would rule Joseon. When Kim met with Dal, Dal complained about the hardship she faced and that she was afraid of the threats. She asked if this was her reward for saving his life. He told her as long as she was there, no one would touch her. She was in the crown prince's body. When she slept, she had nightmares, cried in her sleep, and woke up terrified. Kim was beside her and took her for fresh air. She told him these were his nightmares and memories. Since coming to the palace, she dreamed of his deceased wife. Kim asked her what she dreamed of. She said she dreamed of living comfortably without running and trouble, a rosy life. He took her hand and they ran. He made her wait outside. She got bored, entered, and found a beautiful place full of flowers. He told her from now on, her life would be pink, literally, with no more trouble. Dal fell hard for him, of course. The next day, they woke up amidst the guards in the court who were staring because they were sleeping next to each other. They understood that Dal entered as a male assistant. It was a scandalous night, and the crown prince had gone astray. But the counselor's daughter stood there, the only one who understood. Then Kim dismissed the servants. Only his assistant remained. He told them they drove him crazy, saying you and you, while no one understood. He was worried about the counselor's daughter's reaction after what she saw. As for Dal and Kim's body, when she knew the counselor's daughter was the one who shot him, she feared for her soul. They would ruin the man's reputation. The rumor went outside the palace and reached the prince. The prince went to his flower sanctuary and began burning it because it was his place with the counselor's daughter. She came and he yelled at her, started the rumor about Kim and Dal. He told her if she thought by getting rid of Kim, he would take his place. This throne was the last of his concerns. She asked him if anyone leaves someone to marry another. When she found he did not care, she said she would marry the crown prince and produce an heir, hoping he would be happy with that. She left him and walked away. Then Kim and Dal agreed to get her out of the palace. She would stay with the prince where no one would look for him. They would handle the queen dowager later. A protest was held against the crown prince because of the rumor demanding his removal from office. The counselor told the king this personal assistant was a disguise, which was treason, and he must be arrested and executed. Indeed, they distributed his picture in the markets and searched for him. Dal went to the minister whose daughter she helped, asking if he would return the favor or not. He decided to help her and also help her family move from there. We saw her family clinging to her in front of the woman acting as her aunt, who told them they must stay away from her and she would get her out of Joseon because it was dangerous for her and them. But they refused to leave her, saying she would remain their daughter no matter what. The counselor told the crown prince in front of the king that he knew this assistant was a girl named Dal. The king was shocked he actually did that. As for Dal, who had Kim's soul, we understand now, she was at the prince's place. He yelled at her for disguising herself differently every time, saying this mess would doom her. Dal asked if he found information about the bird poison. The prince was surprised she knew about this topic. She told him naturally she knew everything. Then the prince offered her marriage to be under his protection. Because of her presence, he feared the crown prince would cancel the marriage and abandon his revenge. But Dal, who was Kim, got annoyed and told him absolutely not. No such thing. Meanwhile, the crown prince stood with the king. The king said hand over Dal and he would return her as a government slave and not execute her. Not to worry. Later, Kim and Dal met. She told him if she handed herself in, the king would be lenient with her sentence. And she had been a slave all her life anyway, so not to worry about her. The important thing was not to lose his revenge for her. She collapsed and cried on the floor because she felt sorry for him after knowing his whole story. But he reassured her, saying everything would be solved soon. However, the next day they arrested him. The counselor said she should be flogged and exiled from the country. Here Dal, who had Kim's soul, testified against the minister that he harassed her before to pin the verdict on him too. When the minister denied the crown, Prince came and said he was a witness. Then every minister started accusing the minister next to him to cover his own failure. It became corruption upon corruption. The counselor said they would try every corrupt minister, but after finishing here first, just as they were about to pronounce the sentence, the queen dowager entered and said she was the one who brought her in herself. The case was closed, but she told them she wanted to marry Dal. However, Kim refused, the one with Dal's soul. The queen told him he lost his wife. Did he want to lose this one too at the hands of this ungrateful counselor? We saw a court official come and tell the prince that one of the servants spread the rumor about the crown prince. He realized he wronged the counselor's daughter. Dal told Kim to cancel this royal wedding, saying he could not marry someone who shot him just for revenge. She told him to leave this task to her. We saw the counselor searching for Dal, but the assistant told him her family disappeared from there, and the one who helped them was the minister. He could not do anything because this minister once saved him from bandits when he was a child. Back to Kim and Dal, who were in a parallel world buying clothes and sweet things. Kim was happy seeing her happy with the silk. He told her from now on to forget she was a servant. They went to have their portrait drawn. Dal was shy, but Kim's appearance, which she was in, shook his masculinity in our eyes. On their way back, Kim watched Dal hopping happily and caught himself smiling at her smile. He told her to return to the palace, left her, and went to his wife's place to apologize for falling for another. At that moment, people attacked and kidnapped him. He was in Dal's form. They were the counselor's men wanting to force-feed her contraceptive medicine so she would not bear children. Thus, the Queen Dowager would discard her and keep her away from the Crown Prince. But he managed to push them all away. When one took the shoes to burn them, he remembered how happy Dal was with them. He untied himself, grabbed the shoes from the fire, and was exhausted. Dal was playing with the dog when suddenly she saw him in front of her hugging the shoes. Here, their real souls spoke. Kim told her he saved the shoes because she wanted them. He told her to wear them and never take them off, and he would protect her from now on. He was certain inside that he fell hard in love with her. He fell, literally this time, and lost consciousness. When the doctor examined Dal, he said she was fine. It was just the effect of the anesthetic. When she woke up, it was Kim's soul. He told her since the counselor focused on this matter, he would not let go until he destroyed everything. She had to return to her village and hide from him. He told himself it was good to be in her body, to bear the pain instead of her. This king was very tender. Later, they both met with the prince. He told her the old man who sold the bird turned out to have a son. Thus, this was evidence against the counselor, but they could not find this son. However, he was lying to them because he was hiding him. The son was behind the door, listening. He entered and asked why the lies, and if he imprisoned him for nothing. Kim was shocked the prince betrayed him. The prince said all this was for the counselor's daughter. Kim left furious due to the prince's betrayal. Dal comforted him. The next day, the prince went to Kim saying he had proof the bird was with the counselor. He would give it to him on the condition that when he started revenge, he would not hurt his daughter. Later, the counselor went to the minister asking about Dal. He told him that since she helped his daughter, he considered her his second daughter, so he warned him not to touch her. Kim and Dal sat thinking where the bird could be, hidden by the counselor. They realized if they found the person bringing food to the bird, they could watch him and find the location. The next day, they brought a hunter who sketched the man who took food from him. They started searching for him and asking people. On their way, they found a whole family dead with no trace of poison. They knew this was the bird's poison. Then they saw an old woman hiding. When they showed her the man's picture, she was scared and said he killed her family. She gave them a bag saying it fell from him as he fled when she tried to grab him. On their way, Dal's family caught her and took her home. They did not know it was poor Kim, so he did not know what to do. He told them to bring the crown prince. When Dal entered, she hugged them saying she was their daughter. No one understood anything. They sat and started explaining what happened and how their bodies swapped. They still did not understand except the woman acting as her aunt who knew the secrets. She took Dal, who was Kim, to talk privately. One would think she would tell the truth, but she told him the same lie that she drowned 5 years ago and lost her memory. As they left her family, their real souls communicated. Dal asked him why. He exposed himself to danger to protect her. She said with his actions, he was stirring her rusty feelings. She added the tragedy was that it was impossible for him to love her, so he should stop being so sweet. Their talk was cut off by the court lady coming to arrest Dal, saying it was an order from the king. We learned that the two-faced counselor went to the king, claiming they discovered a relationship between Dal and the prince and had to kill her. Just any excuse. They wanted to finish her. We learned they took the letter containing information about the bird as if it were a love letter between them. The counselor interrogated Kim. When he finished, he went to Dal where she was held. It was Dal's soul speaking, saying she would confess she wrote the letter to him, but it fell into the prince's hands. He told her then they would make him marry her, as were the palace rules. He said he would not be happy marrying someone he did not love. It was a confession right there. Her blood boiled and she walked away. He said that because he wanted to push her away, as enough harm had been done. She returned and asked if he thought she was dying for him, or if he was the center of the universe. She wanted to help, so her body would not be hurt. He went to Dal's room, searched her things, found a letter, and took it to the Queen Dowager. He told her he sent it to Dal, and there was no relationship between her and the prince. She asked if he agreed to marry her, and he did. She called her assistant to issue a release order for Dal, as she would be the crown prince's wife. But the assistant said unfortunately the court lady ordered the flogging of Dal. He ran to her and took the last hit on his back. They both bled. When their blood mixed, the thread of fate appeared again and connected them. They lost consciousness again. When they woke up, everyone returned to their body. Dal was unlucky. The day she returned to her body, it was battered like this. When she realized the pain, she fainted again. The Queen Dowager came and exonerated Dal, punishing the court lady and arresting her. In the palace, Kim was the one taking care of Dal. His assistant came and told him the bag they had, belonging to the man feeding the bird, was distributed to workers in the palace by the king's order. They discovered it was not a man, but a masked woman in disguise. When they searched for who the woman could be inside the palace, they discovered it was the court lady who flogged Dal and was in prison. When they went to her, they found her dead. Searching her room, they found her mask. Kim ordered all servants be under surveillance because the counselor would recruit someone else to bring food. When Dal woke up and checked on Kim, she told him they must execute their agreement for her to return to the village, but he refused. He told her she would be his concubine now, so she would stay before his eyes and he could protect her. They took her to prepare her and brought her to her room made of silk, appointing a personal assistant for her too. At this time, guards arrived and informed Kim they found the bird's food inside the palace. He deduced immediately that the bird was not far from them. Using his brain, he remembered the place where he was kidnapped. They went there and found a bird, but it was still a baby. Kim felt this was a new threat from the counselor, confirming he had the bird so he would stop searching behind him. We saw the counselor was the one who forged the food and mask evidence to frame the court lady, and there was another masked person with him, but they still did not know who. Kim was with the prince asking the old man's son if there was a way to find the mother using her son. He said when the mother heard her son's voice from any distance, she came to his location immediately. Kim began searching the mountains near the capital, hoping to find the bird. He went to the prince, thanked him for his help, and told him for his cleverness he would execute their agreement and not harm the counselor's daughter. When revenge time came, he should take her and flee and hold on to his love a bit more, not be weak. The prince indeed went to the counselor's daughter, took her to their flower sanctuary, and told her father was almost finished. "You will be mine, girl." The next day, the counselor's daughter acted cute and went to tell Kim she would tell him the bird's location in exchange for helping her flee with the prince. We saw the counselor kept the bird in a secret underground hideout. He met the masked person and told him no one knew about this poison, and suddenly it was on everyone's tongue. He told him he must close every passage leading to the bird's place, and if he spotted Kim here, finish him immediately. We saw Dal walking with her assistant, hearing servants talking about her, saying the crown prince did not consider her a real concubine or anything. He just kept her close because she looked exactly like his wife. She took it to heart and left. We went to Kim, who started moving to the place the counselor's daughter told him about, with the baby bird. He entered the passage, but found a dead end. However, the baby kept making loud sounds, meaning his mother was behind this wall. The next day, Dal came to Kim's room, bringing him a gift. When she did not find him, she left it on the desk. She saw his wife's wedding ring, and memories of it came to her mind. But she thought these were memories from the dreams she had while in his body. When Kim arrived at the room and asked the assistant about her, he said, "Look, I will tell you, but don't get mad. Every day she goes to guard the baby bird because she wants to offer any help in this matter." When they went there, they did not find her. He got angry and scolded the assistant, worried sick about her. Dal was actually walking, muttering and upset because she loved him, while he thought only of his wife, even though he showered her with attention. At the end of the day, Kim went to the bird's hideout, broke the dead-end wall, and found the masked man behind it. As soon as he saw him, he lit bombs. The bird escaped and was heading to the palace. Kim worried about Dal. When the whole hideout exploded, the evidence went with it. There was no solution except catching it alive. In the palace, the bird arrived and caused chaos. The guards were about to kill it, but Dal remembered Kim's words that he wanted to catch it alive to use its poison to kill the counselor and have it as evidence. She ordered the guards to get everyone outside, and she would bring it to the palace courtyard for them to tie up. Dal went to take the baby bird and ran with it, and the mother followed her. She reached the courtyard. At the same time, Kim and his guards arrived. The guards tied the bird with ropes. Kim went and yelled at Dal for exposing herself to harm, but she told him she knew this revenge was his first and last goal, and she had to help him. Then the bird broke the ropes to go to its son, who was next to Dal. At that moment, Kim shot it and killed it. Thus, all evidence was gone. Dal collapsed and started crying, opening a drama scene that she ruined everything. But he told her he was doing all this to restore his wife's right, but if something happened to her too, he would be lost. She asked, "So you don't hate me and want me away from you?" At that time, he confessed his love to her. She was already head over heels, did not hesitate for a second, and confessed her love too. The next day, Dal dreamed of the Queen Mother while they drank tea together, and suddenly she died. She woke up from sleep, not understanding why she still dreamed of Kim's wife, but she found Kim left her a parasol beside her for the sun. She was happy with it and forgot everything. Kim held a meeting and told them he would postpone the royal wedding. He spoke with the prince, telling him now there was no bird evidence, plus the mediator who helped the counselor use the hideout. Later, the prince went to meet the counselor's daughter, bringing her a gift. He told her, "Your engagement present, Bri. I want you to be happy." She told him, "Baby, you are my gift. I don't want jewelry or gold. Just get rid of my counselor father, and life will be sweet." As for Kim and Dal, he wanted to imitate the prince and bring a gift for Dal too. He took the opinions of all the servants and settled on a ring that looked nondescript. Dal was holding the parasol, spinning with it, seeing it as a classy move from a high-class man. She told her assistant she must get him a gift too. With effort, she said there was no better gift than one made by her own hands, so she decided to cook for him. I wish she hadn't decided, or even entered the kitchen at all. She made meatballs out of her own fingers. I told her it was nice in the end, but poor him, he didn't want to break her heart. He tried to escape, asking her what she thought about giving the guards these sweets. But she said confidently, "No, I said sent them food and they, poor things, couldn't handle it. When they put it for the dog, even the dog refused it. Kim ate it all, while putting his leg over his neck, reluctant. When the guard saw him, he asked, "How did you eat all that?" Even the dog wouldn't eat it. Then she finally noticed. The kitchen wasn't her place. She took him to make compresses for the health crisis he was in. He saw her hand in the water, wounded, and went to hold it to remove it. But then their souls swapped again. It seems this issue will give us a headache. At this time, the counselor arrived and summoned Dal for interrogation. He said to himself, "Good, it works out. Better than her ruining us." He asked her why the baby bird was with her and how she knew its location. She told him and said, "Because the one behind this bird is a traitor, right? Our great counselor? Greatness belongs to God, of course." When Kim and Dal returned together, they tried to see how their bodies swapped again. She tried injuring herself and putting her hand in water with Kim. They lost consciousness and each returned to their body. Dal was happy she knew the secret formula. On the last day, Kim prepared a surprise for her. He made her a path of shoes since she loved shoes. At the end of the path was a shoe with a wedding ring. He put it on her and told her, "Forget entirely that I am the crown prince and all that kingdom talk. I am a man asking for the hand of the one I love." He put the ring on her and they announced their marriage. Tonight is a feast. The next day, she went to her family and said, "Peace be upon you. I married the crown prince." Her aunt took her aside and said, "I don't like your situation. We must return to our village." She told her, "What are you saying, woman? I tell you I got married. I came to ask you to take my family and return yourselves, because if the counselor knows you, it won't be good." After a long hassle, the poison trail led to the masked person helping the counselor. She turned out to be a doctor in the palace. When they asked about her, she told them she had been on leave for a few days due to a contagious disease. He met the prince and told him about the doctor and that he found out everything about her. The prince told him that doctor's mother is the mediator we are looking for. The counselor went to the king and said, "Father, I decided to calm things down a bit, but it seems your son doesn't want to let it go. I have no choice but to present a new sacrifice, which is Dal." He said, "But she has nothing to do with anything." He said, "Yes, but Kim's wife does, and the queen dowager is helping Dal because she looks exactly like her. I will bring proof that she is actually his wife." They issued an interrogation order for Dal. Every time they were cornered, they interrogated her. At that time, Kim was looking for the doctor. She was supposed to be inside the hideout at the time of the explosion, so he knew there was another secret passage. They kept searching inside the hideout. "We saw the counselor's daughter knew about the doctor and helped her escape. We are confused about you. Are you with us or with them?" Back to the poor girl being interrogated. They told her she was Kim's wife who died 5 years ago and returned for revenge. The counselor brought witnesses from her village stating she appeared suddenly 5 years ago and her parents adopted her. But the counselor said all this was no coincidence. The king said, "If you turn out to be truly his wife, your escape is considered treason and I must sentence you to death." When we returned to Kim, we found he reached the counselor's house at the end of the hideout where his men were. Dal managed to prove the witness woman was a liar and tripped her up in her words. The king said, "We will continue the investigation tomorrow." At that moment, Kim entered and said the counselor was the one involved in the bird story, and the end of the hideout where the bird was the counselor's house. When they spoke to the witness, she told them, "I will confess everything but protect my husband because the counselor threatened me with him." He told her the counselor was in prison now. She said his men would execute his orders anyway. When they left, Dal begged him to help her husband. He agreed and sent men to protect him. We saw the king went to the counselor in prison and released him as if he was hypnotizing him. When he returned, his assistant told him his daughter escaped. He sent his men to find her and ordered them to close the port and all mountain roads. His daughter was in another world with the prince. They were escaping, intending to flee on a boat by sea, but they took a rest from running. The next day, Kim went to the king and was surprised by the counselor leaving his office normally. He told him the king released him. Kim entered and yelled at him, asking why he did that. He told him that long ago, the counselor killed the first king, and his son hid the poison in my house and threatened to frame me. Not only that, he made me write a confession that I killed them to become king. He blackmails me with that paper to this day. Then he came and ordered me to kill your wife so I could marry you to his daughter. When I refused, he killed your mother, framed your wife for her death, and told you I remained silent all this time to protect you. Kim broke down hearing the truth. Out of shock, he didn't know how to act. Dal stayed to comfort him. The queen dowager went to the king and told him the counselor's daughter escaped, so they must cancel the royal wedding and the counselor must be punished. When she found him calm, she told him, "I actually knew you were the one who killed the previous king to take the throne and gave all this power to the counselor." He held it in his heart then and couldn't speak. At this time, Dal told Kim he must not give up and must take revenge on the counselor. Suddenly, he remembered the counselor's calmness despite knowing his daughter escaped. He deduced he surely sent someone to bring them back. He worried about the prince. The prince was at the port, about to board the boat, when the counselor's men arrived, with him among them. They attacked him. He fought them, but couldn't overpower them. The counselor approached him and said, "No, feisty, I like it." But Kim came from behind him and said, "And your rudeness, I didn't like it. Shall we go to the naughty corner together or what? You are a man whose daughter fled with a man at night, so she must be punished. When she returns, she can't be the crown prince's wife." He went to his daughter, raised his sword at her, and told him, "But if I finish her here, no one will know. She ran away with a man. What shall we do?" At that moment, the prince came and said, "Finish me instead. Just let her live." The counselor took his daughter and left. Kim told the prince what happened. In the palace, they closed the bird case and decided to continue the royal wedding. The counselor and his men were happy with the news of their daughter. Happy about what exactly? The queen dowager was with Kim, very annoyed that he would marry the counselor's daughter, who was supposed to be punished now, her and her father. But Kim told her she didn't run away or anything. I let her go out for a walk. She got angry at him and said, "Why are you and your father weak before the counselor? What does he have on you? You and I lost people we love. Will you keep standing and watching forever?" Her words awakened his conscience. He took himself and went to the king, his father, telling him, "You must bring out the paper you wrote, confess, and hand the throne to the prince. I know we will be exiled and punished too, but then I will find a way to prove you wrote it under threat." Meanwhile, Dal's assistant, acting as her aunt, met the king and told him Dal was the crown prince's wife, but lost her memory since she threw herself in the water. He asked her, "Why did she throw herself? Did she not read my letter?" She said, "No, she read that you wrote to her, fake your death and flee, but you know they love each other, and she couldn't live far from him, so she committed suicide for real. This time, you must help her." She went to Dal's family and confessed the truth to them, that she was the deceased crown prince's wife, and we must return to the village now with her. The king went and told Dal, "I heard that. Your family is returning to the village. You can go to say goodbye." She thanked him and left. Then he ordered his assistant to set fire to Dal's room and put any body in it. He said he was forced to fake her death a second time. Dal went to her family with her assistant. Suddenly, a flower petal fell into the assistant's hand. Spontaneously, Dal found herself saying to her, "This means you will meet your first love." Then she remembered she said that before. She remembered the wedding ring, the dreams, and her memory began returning with Kim and all her life before. As soon as she saw her first assistant, she remembered everything and asked her, "Why did you hide all this from me?" She opened the drama scene. Her assistant told her, "There is no time for blame now. The king decided to fake your death for the second time, and we must flee from here." But she told her she could not do this to him twice and return him to the nightmare he lived. Her parents felt sorry for her. They tied up the assistant and told Dal to run and return to stay by the crown prince's side. Dal went to the palace indeed. She met the king and told him, "I won't run again. As for you, it is time you look at your son's feelings a bit more." She left him and walked away. She went to Kim's room and kept laughing in his face. Unjustified laughs, honestly. He didn't understand the secret of her happiness, but he was happy with her anyway. However, she decided to hide from him the truth that she was his wife. Since then, she stuck to him inside and outside, even in work meetings. As for the reckless prince, he went to the counselor's daughter's house and left her a letter containing a wedding ring. He told her, "I will finish off your counselor father who is causing trouble, and you wear the ring and wait for me." Kim's assistant came and informed him the prince went to the counselor's house and looked like he intended a disaster, indeed a crime disaster. The prince sneaked into the counselor's place at night and attacked him with his sword, but the counselor's fighting skills were wow compared to the prince. However, in a moment when he looked into the prince's eyes, he remembered his daughter's eyes and weakened. The prince took advantage of this. Just as he was about to finish him, Kim entered and stopped him. Kim was surprised the counselor went easy on him, as he was known to be unbeatable. Kim gave the prince a slap to wake him up from this absurdity and told him, "After all this thinking, is this the plan you reached?" The next day, Dal went to the prince and continued scolding him too. She scolded him too for what he did. Later, they held a meeting to uncover the counselor's corruption, but Dal was elsewhere in her mind, shooting hearts at Kim. He could not focus due to the excessive romance. They concluded that when the counselor's men committed a crime, they took it outside the city, so they were not easily caught. Dal told them to leave this task to her. She went to the queen dowager and started buttering her up, acting cute. She told her that the life of royals was incredibly boring. The queen asked what favor she wanted, and to get to the point, she replied, "Shame on you. I just came to entertain you." She began captivating her with stories and spent the whole day with her. They went out together while she told stories. The time for the request came. She asked her to summon the counselor's daughter there, pretending she would scold her, then leave her and Dal to speak alone. She did so, and Dal asked her about her father's men and where he hid the masked doctor. She said she did not know, but when she used to come, to them she came from the mountains. When Dal reported this, he understood the counselor was planting his army around the city. They began searching the mountains. In the palace, Dal's assistant went to the queen, and they spoke about her. Kim was behind a door listening as they said Dal was his deposed wife. He was shocked and remembered the past few days, Dal's behavior, and her clinging to him. He broke down, imagining the torture and sacrifice she made for him. He went to ask her the question he was dying for her to answer since the start. What happens if a flower petal falls into your hand? He was crying, so she understood he knew everything. She told him, "It seems I caught 2 petals. The world ended, and we married twice." He calmed down. They sat together, and she warned him that no one must know she was his wife until she executed her plan. Later, the counselor issued an order to arrest Dal's parents because they were formerly palace servants who fled and were sentenced to death. He sent a message to Dal saying, "I know who you are. To save them, come to the court." She went. He told her to confess before everyone who she was, and he would stop the sentence. Everyone signaled her not to confess and stay silent, but she did not choose herself. She stated she was the deposed crown prince's wife. The counselor made them release her parents and arrest her instead. At that time, Kim was present and did not have time to rejoice at her return. In prison, the counselor visited her. She told him she wanted to remind him she did not lose alone. She added, "You are hiding him in the mountain near my mother's grave. Kim will discover it soon anyway." He got scared, thinking Kim was playing with fire, and left. From his reaction, she confirmed there was indeed something in the mountain. On the other side, the counselor's daughter devised a plan to save Dal. She sent a message to Kim and the prince asking them to help her escape the house. This would distract the counselor so they could go save Dal. Then the counselor's daughter took the clothes of a servant. The prince came to take her and left. When the counselor felt anxious, he went to the prison to check if Dal was there. When he opened the cell, he found his daughter. On the other side, Kim and Dal were hiding in a fabric cart with the merchant to smuggle them out of the palace. We return to the counselor who killed his daughter's assistant as punishment. He distributed Kim and Dal's pictures everywhere to search for them. As for them, they arrived at a place to stay until morning. She told him long ago, while visiting her mother's grave, a woman gave her a letter, but one of the counselor's men came, claimed she was his wife with dementia, and took her and the letter away. She told him later when she had her brother investigate the woman, he brought her a book to give to Kim if he died. He remembered indeed that. He found this book in her belongings long ago and kept it safe. The next morning, Dal woke up and said she would make breakfast. After a moment of panic, he screamed, "No, you will not do anything. Stay there." She realized he did not want to eat her food because she was a failed cook. He got up to make breakfast himself. It was safer. Later, he suggested to Dal that they flee and leave everything behind, fearing this book was not enough evidence to bring down the counselor. She told him they would not be happy if they left their loved ones behind to suffer. Meanwhile, the counselor was with the Queen Dowager. She told him she did not want the prince to take the throne and never acknowledged him. She called his mother a traitor who chased men. Here, the counselor exploded. We learned she was speaking about the woman he protected all along. Yet the queen sentenced her to death and made him feed her the poison himself. He yelled at her, saying everything happening now was because of her alone, because she judged her of treason unjustly. The next day, Kim agreed with a boat owner to ferry them across. But when he left, the owner saw their wanted poster and reported them. Palace men surrounded them. Kim told his guard to take Dal and flee. He put a weapon to his neck and told the men if they approached, he would kill himself. He told them to let them go and he would return. We saw, the day before, Dal told him they could not leave their loved ones behind. She proposed a plan to go to the mountain to find the woman there. He would go to the palace to look for the book. At that moment, he got the idea to swap bodies like before. She would benefit from his fighting strength on the mountain, and he knew she was smart anyway and would find the book. Then she would send it to him with the prince. As soon as Dal, in Kim's body, entered the palace, she ordered his assistant to search for the book and bring it. When she opened it, she did not find anything special, but she found a hidden message with the address of the counselor's army headquarters. She sent this address with the prince, and they went there. But they discovered this woman was the prince's mother, whom they executed long ago. But she did not die. All this time, the counselor was protecting her because he loved her back then and wanted to marry her. But at that time, he had no money or power. The king married her. We saw her mind became fragile from what she endured. At the same time, they arrived there. The prince saw her and knew she was his mother. We went back a few years, seeing the beginning of the counselor's love story with the prince's mother, who was from a royal family. He did nothing in life but love her and trained to join the army to enter the royal palace and marry her. Their relationship was 10 out of 10 until he started getting close to the king, the current king's brother. One day, his leg was injured. They took the counselor to his house where his beloved was. When she treated him, he liked her. The next day, he proposed to her. The counselor stood there saying nothing. When she got upset and walked away, the king told him, "I know, she is the person you want to protect, but her mind, a simple soldier like you cannot provide her protection compared to a king." When she reproached him, he told her he could protect her more than him. They married indeed, and she gave birth to the prince. Time passed. The Queen Dowager came accusing her of treason, and they sentenced her to death too. The next day, at execution time, she drank the poison. But we saw a doctor gave him the poison and its antidote. He gave her the antidote, put another body in her place, and they fled the palace. palace. But as soon as she woke up, we found she lost her mind. When he went to the king, he asked him, "Didn't you promise to protect her?" He replied, "Honestly, I wanted her to protect something else, more important, which is the throne." Or he finished him off. We returned to the present. The counselor went to Kim and told him the royal wedding to his daughter would be in 2 days. Before leaving, he asked why he insisted on revenge even though Dal was still alive, and her memory was good too. He told him this royal family had no elder to respect, left him, and walked away. Later, Kim went to the king asking him to help him escape before the royal wedding. But the king told him, "Trust the prince." He said he would return in 2 days, then go to Dal and leave. The rest to me. The next day, Kim sat examining the paper he found in the book. He concluded there was a secret agreement that could convict the counselor and exonerate the king. But at that time, the Queen Dowager entered and confessed everything she did in the past. She said all the counselor's actions were driven by revenge for his beloved only. He asked to see her picture. Don't forget, Dal's soul was in Kim's body all this time. When she saw the picture, she knew she was the same woman she saw on the mountain, who was the prince's mother. Back to the prince, who saw her and recognized her as his mother. He was about to go to her like a madman, but Dal and the guard stopped him. At that time, a girl from the counselor's assistants attacked them, but Dal recognized her and gave her a letter from the counselor's daughter. She started helping them according to the plan, informing them the royal wedding was tomorrow, and they must complete the mission quickly. In the palace, Kim wanted to go talk to the counselor's daughter. His assistant prepared clothes for him to sneak out and go to her. But as he jumped the wall, he fell and injured his hand. Well, it was Dal's soul. She had no physical fitness. Anyway, he arrived safely and went to her. At that time, the Prince Dal and the assistants attacked the guards of the prince's mother's house, finished them off, and entered. As soon as the prince saw her, he broke down crying. He gave her shock therapy, took the pillow. She held through it and told her, "I am your son." Indeed, her memory returned and she remembered him. As for Dal and the guard, they searched the whole room until they found the secret agreement. But at that moment, the counselor's men arrived. As they fled, the prince and guard stood to fight them. Dal took the prince's mother and explained how to reach her family and her assistant who would be waiting for her. The prince and guard here managed to finish off the men. He sent the agreement with the guard to deliver it to Kim in the palace. The wedding day came. They prepared Kim and the counselor's daughter in royal attire. But on the way, Kim found the wound on his hand bleeding. He arrived at the water basin where he was supposed to wash for the wedding rituals. He stood tense, looking around, waiting for them to enter, but no one came. Dal's soul inside him said, "I trust Kim and the prince." He put his hand in the water. Because it was bleeding, it reacted with Dal. Their souls switched back, and each went to their place losing consciousness. As soon as he woke up, finding himself back in his body in the palace, he was happy. He knew everything now. He told the king that the killer of the previous king and crown prince was the counselor. He informed them to issue an arrest warrant for him and began listing all the charges and disasters he committed. Then the prince came with the secret agreement containing the confession of the king, which the counselor forced him to write against himself to blackmail him. Kim took the paper and burned it in front of the counselor. But suddenly his men appeared everywhere, and started killing people with their swords until the counselor escaped quietly. Then they arrested the counselor's daughter because she became a traitor's daughter now and must be imprisoned. The prince went to her and promised to get her out soon. On the other side, Dal, when their bodies swapped, was arrested easily by the counselor's men. As for Kim, he searched for her in all the mountains until the guard came and reported the counselor took Dal hostage and was heading to the palace. Indeed, he entered the palace with a weapon on her neck. As soon as he arrived, the counselor stabbed her in the stomach. He said there were 15 minutes for the deposed queen to appear before him, or she would not survive. When a servant entered and informed the king, the deposed queen, the prince's mother, decided to go out to him herself. She was confident he would not hurt her, but at that moment, it rained, or Kim had an idea to swap their bodies so he would die and she would remain alive. She with her soul and he with his body. Thus, they would remain together forever, a joint funeral for one person. He drew his sword and cut his hand. Indeed, their souls swapped. Dal broke down inside Kim's body. They took her into the palace to save her. At that time, the prince's mother went outside and saw the counselor coming toward her. She wanted to go to him, but the prince stopped her. They kept striking him with spears and swords while he held in his hand the hairpin he wanted to marry her with until he passed away in front of her. In the palace, doctors announced Dal's death. Kim collapsed here, having Dal's soul inside him. Do not forget. He injured himself again and put his hand in the water, hoping their bodies would swap again, but nothing happened. However, from excessive crying, a tear fell on her ring. He fainted. A miracle happened, and everyone returned to their body. Dal woke up, and no one could believe it. Afterward, her health returned, and they lived happily. All villains were punished. The Queen Dowager went to the prince's mother and apologized to her, saying she would spend the rest of her life atoning for her sins against her. We saw the prince's mother visiting the counselor's grave. It was love, after all. As for the prince, when he went to the counselor's daughter in prison to take her and flee with the king's approval, she refused, saying she would would stay here to atone for her sins. If she went with him now, she would never be happy. He respected her decision and told her he would wait for her his whole life. On one of these beautiful rosy days in the palace, our girl, Dal, discovered she was pregnant. She gave birth to a small prince. While giving birth, she wished their bodies would swap at that moment. 5 years passed. The prince went to marry the counselor's daughter, bringing the hairpin as a wedding gift. She was about to tell him. She still did not agree, but he said the king pardoned her enough, or he would smack her. She agreed, and they finally married. Even Kim's bodyguard found his other half. We saw the little prince grew up and was with Dal. A flower petal fell into his hand. She told him he would meet his first love. He told her she was his first love and he would marry her. Then Kim came and told him, "Sorry, buddy, this is mine. She is taken. Find another." They fought over her. Here ended the events of our series. And that's it. Bye.